What is Helix Sleep? Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses and bedding that are customized to your needs and conveniently shipped right to your door. Everybody's different, and Helix knows that, so they made a sleep quiz that matches your unique body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. Based on your different sleep positions and firmness preferences, they have something for everyone's unique taste. If you sleep with a partner, you can take the sleep quiz together and find something that's the perfect compromise for both of you. I personally I sleep on my back, and I really like the soft mattresses. I like it when I feel like I'm sleeping on a cloud. So I chose the Moonlight mattress just because it is far more soft and delicate and nice for my back. But there's also a backside stomach sleeper option. There's the sleep alone or share mattress. There's the soft, medium, and firm mattress. They really do take account as to your sleep position, the firmness of the mattress you prefer, and whether or not you sleep alone. Now, based on my results, Helix matched me with their Moonlight mattress. I've had my Helix mattress for about like a week, and I love it. As soon as I laid on my Helix mattress, especially after unboxing it, it felt like I was on a cloud. It was so soft. It really relaxed me. I would say that I could fall asleep in about 10 minutes on that. It just feels like a hotel mattress, honestly. And it's just super comfortable, really high quality, and it's very much I bought it online, and it's exactly what I expected. In fact, even more than what I expected. So, like, in quality. So I really did enjoy my experience with Helix. Now, the best part about all of this is that Helix delivers your mattress right to your door for free in the United States. It just comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up for yourself. If it makes you nervous to buy something that you haven't tried, Helix has a 100-night sleep trial, so you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love it. If you don't, they'll pick it up for you and you'll get a full refund. Now, I love my Helix, and I think you would too. If you're looking for a new bed, check out Helix. You can click the link below or go to helixsleep.com/Angelica and get up to $200 off your Helix mattress. That's $200 off your Helix mattress if you go to helixsleep.com/Angelica. Thank you once again to Helix for sponsoring this video, and on to the video.
Why, hello there. My name is Dr. Angelica. It is a pleasure to meet you. Now, you scheduled our standard appointment, which includes 25 triggers, correct? Excellent. Now, before we begin, I'm going to be collecting some information on you. So, just very general details. Probably a maximum of 10 questions. So, tell me, how did you hear about our clinic? Okay. And how old are you? Excellent. Have you listened to ASMR or any trigger-based sort of videos before? For example, street hypnotism or very soft-spoken interviews? Okay. Interesting. Would you prefer more soft-spoken or whispering delivery of information? Okay. We'll work some both into the discourse then. Let's see. Are there any preferences that you have currently that you are aware about? Okay. Are there any sort of triggers that don't quite resonate with you? For example, some people aren't a big fan of mouth sounds, other people are a huge fan of mouth sounds, so any sort of triggers in that respect? Styrofoam is also another controversial one where some people love it, some people hate it. Okay. Excellent. Now, do you have any light sensitivities? We're going to be using a flashlight for this video. It won't be used in a very sporadic way where it'll be kind of, all over the place, sort of flashing lights. It'll be more of a gentle sort of coast, but at the same time, some people do have light sensitivities, whether it be a more sensitive registry of the sense being stimulated, or whether it be just that they recently had some sort of surgery on their eyes, and seeing a light wouldn't be very good for them at that current time and place. Okay. Interesting. Now, are you at all interested? This would probably be a better question for the end, but I'm going to ask it now and then compare it to the end. Are you at all interested in upgrading to a more advanced and thorough examination where we can really go into depth with what your preferences are, what triggers your tingles. Okay, excellent. I'll check in with you afterwards to see if the answer is consistent, but I'm glad to hear it. And finally, what are your favorite relaxing colors? For example, there's lilac, lavender, mint. You know, the very soft, sort of like very calming sort of colors. Ones that you don't really have to think about, you just kind of like fall into it. The best you can describe it is the best way that I can picture it, honestly. Like, you don't have to know the specific name. It's just however you interpret the color is good enough for me. Okay, excellent. We'll note that down. A shade of blue. Okay, excellent. Now that we have all of your results or information in the system, I'm going to be asking you a series of questions as we go along through these Tingle clinic test. Basically, as I'm performing a trigger on you, I'm going to be performing it for maybe 15 seconds to a minute, depending on the efficacy of it and how I see it resonating with you. And after I'm done with the trigger, I'm going to ask you on a scale from 1 to 10 to rate it based on very not triggering and very triggering. So 10 is triggering, 1 is not triggering at all. Okay, perfect. So once again, we're going to go through 25 triggers. Let me put on my gloves just because I want to make sure that even though, you know, the quarantine is over and all of that jazz, that we're still practicing proper sanitation and hygiene practices. It's always good measure. I'm also going to be putting on some of my rings for the sheer sake of style. Perfectly fine. Not needed. Now, let's begin. I'm going to start by stimulating the microphone itself and creating a sort of imitation of someone kind of cupping your ears. So, for the first, I would say 5 triggers, we're going to be really directly stimulating the ear area. I want you to really capture your attention in the ear area and keep it centered there. Okay. I'm just going to cup it. Okay, so how would you rate that trigger from a scale from 1 to 10? Interesting. Let me jot that down very quickly. Now, on to the next trigger. I'm going to be playing with the hairs on the microphone, kind of stimulating a sort of playfulness inside the ear as opposed to just cupping it. So, in 3, 2, 1. Now, on a scale from 1 to 10, how did that trigger resonate with you? Okay, excellent. We have 2 down, 23 to go. So, for this next one, I'm going to be taking this lighter, and I'm going to be lighting from afar, from a safe distance away from you, 3 triggers. 1, 2, 3. Now, in order to do this, I'm going to quickly remove my glove and my rings, for security purposes, of course. I don't want to Anakin Skywalker myself, so how dare you? And to remove my glove, so let's begin. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now that we have that out of the way, what did you feel when experiencing those strikes on the match? You meditate on that as you'd like, as long as you'd like, while I put my rings back. Excellent. Now, for our 4th trigger, this one is from Karuna Satori. As far as I know, that is the credit that is due to her. She has originated the fishbowl effect, as far as I know. So we're going to perform a fishbowl effect, which is essentially covering up your face with a fishbowl. And as I'm covering it up, I will thus silence myself, giving you a fishbowl effect, where you are thus covered from the outside world. So let me get a little closer to you. I'm simply going to cover you up, and as I'm going to cover you up, I'm just going to start making myself right over your face. And as I take off the fishbowl from your face, you're going to start hearing me again as such, and then when I place it back over your head again, you're not going to be hearing it. Fishbowl from your face. You're going to be hearing me once again. Do you understand the concept? Excellent. Now let's continue to try that over and over again, so that way you can kind of feel, and then removing it from your face. And then as I remove it from your face, you're going to be kind of hearing the outside noise, being once again rejoined with the outside world. And then when I put it over your head, you're going to be a sense of protection and a sense of safety. It's very therapeutic for those that have a sense of discomfort with the outside world, and it kind of gives them a sense of that protection inside. And sensory deprivation. And so when you're going through the sensory deprivation, it really does help you kind of like readjust yourself and kind of help you kind of feel a little more safe. Like you've been rested fully. Now tell me, how did you register that trigger? I know it's a little more involved than just a direct sort of stimulation to the ears, but rather it involved some visual and auditory stimuli. Very well, very well, very well. Okay, let me jot that down. Okay. Now we're going to be going on to our 5th trigger. A very simple one too. I have this glass little bottle of elderberry juice. It's a medicinal one where it helps you decongest yourself when you're going through a cold, sore throat, all of that jazz. And it's very natural. All of its ingredients are just vitamin C, elderberry, mullein, purpura, honey, purified water, alcohol, peppermint oil, eucalyptus oil, thyme oil, myrrh oil. Now I'm going to be simply moving the jar back and forth for you to hear the oil being moved around. The little tincture, 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 tincture moving around. And you tell me how you enjoy hearing that little glip, 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 glip of the water and the moisture going in and out. How would you rate that trigger from a scale from 1 to 10? Okay. Very interesting. Now for our sixth trigger, I'm going to be counting to 60. And as I'm counting to 60, often people find it very relaxing to kind of have that countdown going on. So let's begin. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7 Mississippi, 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi, 10 Mississippi, 11 Mississippi, 12 Mississippi, 13 Mississippi, 14 Mississippi, 15 Mississippi, 16 Mississippi, 17 Mississippi, 18 Mississippi, 19 Mississippi, 20 Mississippi, 21 Mississippi, 22 Mississippi, 23 Mississippi, 24 Mississippi, 25 Mississippi, 26 Mississippi, 27 Mississippi, 28 Mississippi, 29 Mississippi, 30 Mississippi, 32 Mississippi, 33 Mississippi, 34 Mississippi, 36 Mississippi, 37 Mississippi, 38 Mississippi, 39 Mississippi, 40 Mississippi, 41 Mississippi, 43 Mississippi, 44 Mississippi, 45 Mississippi, 46 Mississippi, 47 Mississippi, 48 Mississippi, 49 Mississippi, 50 Mississippi, 51 Mississippi, 52 Mississippi, 53 Mississippi, 54 Mississippi, 55 Mississippi, 56 Mississippi, 57 Mississippi, 59 Mississippi, 60 Mississippi. Now on a scale from 1 to 10, how did counting affect your tingles? Interesting. Okay. Now, I'm going to be taking this Febreze Air Mediterranean Lavender, and I'm going to be spraying it around your ears. I'm going to cover your eyes very quickly, just so that way it doesn't hit your eyes. And you tell me how it affects you. Okay. And now, how did this 7th trigger affect you? Or 8th? I think it's 8th, correct? 8th. Number 8. Now I'm going to be typing in some information on my phone. And that little clickety clack on my phone should be in itself another trigger that oftentimes a lot of people positively respond to. Now you tell me if it is something that you also positively respond to. Okay, that was the 9th one. 10th one, I'm going to be opening up this box. How did you respond to that trigger? Okay, excellent. Now for the 11th trigger, I'm going to be tapping on the same said box. How did you respond to said trigger? Okay. Let me jot down the triggers between 9 and 11, or 9 and 12, down in the system. So, how did you find the 9th trigger of the breeze? Okay. How did you find the trigger of opening the box? Okay. And how did you find the trigger of the phone typing, texting? Okay. And how did you find the trigger of tapping on the box? Okay. On to the 13th trigger, 14th trigger in that case. 14th. A little bit of the glove action. How did you like that trigger? Okay. Jot that down. Now, to emphasize the rings. This trigger is actually one of my favorite, and it's been highly emphasized by Lucy ASMR and by Sarah Manganese ASMR. Very well. How did you find that trigger to your fancy? Okay. Excellent. Let me just make a note of that. Jot that down. Okay. On to the 16th. 16th trigger. 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th trigger. Correct. I'm going to be jotting down some doodles on this here whiteboard and drawings. How did you like that trigger? Okay, now on to the 17th trigger, which is erasing all of these drawings. Okay. How did you like that trigger? Okay, interesting, interesting. Now on to the 18th trigger. I'm going to be opening and closing this bag. The 18th trigger is me swishing it. The 19th trigger is me opening it. How did you like that? How did you like that? Okay, let me jot that down then. Okay, onto the 20th trigger. I'm going to be opening and closing this book. What did you think about that? Okay. I'm going to now be flopping this postcard of Marilyn Monroe and Jane Russell, and I don't know the dude's name from How to Marry a Millionaire, or rather, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. How did you like that one? Okay. Now, for the 22nd trigger, I'm going to be jangling these earrings. How did you like that one? For the 23rd trigger, I'm going to be opening up the Sharpie cap. How did you like that one? Okay. Let me make a note out of all of your responses, and then we'll come down to the final two. Okay. The 24th one, I'm going to be wrapping this tape measure around the microphone. Silence yourself. I deeply apologize. And how did you like that one? Interesting. And the final one is me clicking the light and then moving it around. But the emphasis is mostly on the click, not on the visual. Okay. And how did you like those triggers? Excellent. Let me jot that down. The final two. Okay, excellent. And which would you say was your favorite out of all 25? Okay. I can also see a pattern in your favorite triggers. I will be emailing you a summary of the results and giving you a detailed rundown of what it is that you prefer and what it is that better registers with your mind. Now, as stated in the beginning, I'm going to reiterate the question. Would you be more interested in a more advanced, thorough, sort of expanded exam when it comes to your triggers, featuring more triggers and a more in-depth sort of like categorization of what you would prefer, whether it be visual stimulation or auditory stimulation? You would? Excellent. Well, in that case, I will be emailing you a link to invite you to such an exam, and you respond to it at your leisure. You respond to it if you decide to subscribe to the exam or class. Now, is there any further questions that you'd like to ask me? No? Excellent. Well, in that case, I hope that you enjoyed this exam. I hope that you take a lot of advantage or a lot of information from the tested results that I'm going to be emailing you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.